All right. So you want to mount one of these Magpul MOE grips on your Shockwave. And I do too. That's why I'm making this video. And I've been looking at the videos online, and you can buy one from a company called Gigi, I think it is, or something like that. And what they do is they cut a bunch of this out. Okay, you have about 1 1/8. I measured it as 1 25/30 seconds that you need to cut out in order to make it work. There's another guy who cuts everything out of the back here. He cuts all these ribs down. Okay, so it doesn't seem to matter whether you take it from the back or the front. Well, upon looking at it, and I'm going to try to do this one-handed here. Alright, so when you get it on here, there, alright. So when it's in place, the guy who cuts everything out of the back, he cuts all of it from the back. So you can imagine this surface right here being 1 1/8 back, and it starts to interfere with the receiver. So he hogs out like a lot of stuff in here. He takes out these, and he moves these all the way up, and a lot of that's just because he's interfering with the receiver. So I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to take a 1/2 inch. I'm going to take a 1/2 inch from here, and then I'm going to take the other 5/8 from up front. And be advised that if you take anything off of the front, it will no longer work with the Black Aces tactical rail. So if you're going to buy that thing, take it all out of the back, and don't buy the one from the company because it won't work. I am never going to pay $200 for that the Black Aces tactical rail, even though it looks awesome. I'm not going to pay that. So I like the looks of this being closer towards the end of the barrel, and I don't want to hog out everything back here, you know, so that it can go over the receiver here. I'm just going to have it come back a 1/2 inch from here, which looks like it's going to leave maybe 1/8 of an inch. And if it leaves about 1/8, I think that'll look pretty sexy. And then I'll take, like I said, I'll take the other 5/8 out from right in here. So wish me luck. I'll post it up as soon as I'm done. All right, so it's extreme amateur hour here. I'm going to have to apologize. I'm doing this with my phone, so I am not going to be able to video the actual process, but I'm going to go over the plan here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure in here and find my 1/2 inch that I'm coming in, and then I'm going to score it. And then I'm going to take my Dremel tool here, and I'm gonna take all those out, the 1/2 inch there. And then on the other side, I'm gonna use this here, and I'm gonna measure my 5/8, and then I'll just cut in here, and then I'll use the same sanding wheel to get all those ribs out, because once you get inside this, it's all like ribbed. So I'll have to hog all that stuff out too. So wish me luck. Here we go, going in. All right, so just a little update. I got the first rib done real quick. That actually went really easily. I cleaned it up a little bit with the X-Acto knife, so you can see I've measured in my 1/2 inch there, and I'm just going to do the rest. All right, so just a quick update here. You notice the bottom 4 ribs, they have protuberances here that come all the way out. Basically, I'm just leveling off those notches with those protuberances. However, when you get up to the top 2, they just go flush with the wall. So coming right along, I'm pretty happy with what's going on so far. By the way, on the Dremel, I'm just real low and slow. I'm at like 10,000 RPM, and it's only taken about 20-30 seconds for each one of these. So I'm gonna keep going. All right, so moving right along here, gentlemen, I'm doing a little test fit, and you can see, I knew I was gonna have to do this, but that little 90-degree angle right there, well, when the when the gun's pushed in, it hits right in there. So so I'm going to have to take the 1/2 inch forward in there as well, and I'm just going to continue to use the sanding wheel. Now, one thing you should know, I wasn't getting, let me take this out here, I wasn't getting the perfect little 90-degree angles in there because of the sanding wheel, so I did take my little chisel here and just kind of clean those up a little bit, so so that I get a little bit better shoulder. So I'm going to keep moving on now. Update. I've got those side parts all hogged out there, however, I've noticed that the rails here, if you look, they stick out just a little bit farther than the rest of this, this fitting here that we're trying to bring in, that shoulder. So when it comes in, it's going in farther now, but we're not quite where we want to be. So what we have to do is these top 2 ribs right in here are going to have to be hogged in just a little bit more, about another 1/8 of an inch. But you can see that we're already looking real good. We've got that whole thing covered up, and right now we're sitting at about 3/8 inch gap there. So we're actually looking really good the way I wanted it to look. So I'm going to hog that out about another 1/8 of an inch so that those rails can protrude into there, and then I'll check back with you. So far so good. All right, so just an update. You might be able to see my little scribe mark coming in. Now just to note, that rib has to be filed off not to the deeper surface to the right, but flush with the shallower surface on the left, the normal factory finish surface. So I'm going to go ahead and sand that off and or grind that off, and we should be good to go. I'll probably put a little contour on there just to give the rails a little bit of room to work. So here we go. All right, so we're all done with the back half. I've hogged those out there, and I've got a little bit of space in between them, so there's plenty of room for those to clear. And to look at it when it's actually racked, it's exactly where I wanted it. We are groovy like a drive-in movie. So now it's time to start working on the front. What I'm going to do, take the weapon out of here, and I'm going to measure from this lug right here, okay, and it should be I think it was 5 and 25/30 seconds all the way to the front. So 5 and 7/8 or whatever that is. It's 5 and 25/30 seconds. But I basically measured the lugs on the factory one to get that measurement. So I'm going to measure that again from that lug so that I know I'm good. And then we'll be cutting in somewhere around here and just hogging everything out. And basically you're just going to be as smooth as you are on, I'm getting my flashlight, as smooth as you are all around there, you're going to be that smooth all the way in to your actual measurement. So it's real easy on that. You pretty much just make sure your measurement is right, and then you cut and smooth it out. So should be a piece of cake from here. All right, so point of order here. Pretty much all I did was I measured along that rib. This is the factory grip, and you just measure along that rib to the end surface. Now you notice that the end surface on the factory one is where the castle nut tightens down on. Okay, on a Magpul, you have to put the spacer in. So when I took my measurement, I put this in first, and then basically I'm going to measure from the lug at the back, like I showed you before, somewhere in there, to the very front edge of the castle nut spacer. That way I've got the same exact distance. So the back is arbitrary. The back measurement is arbitrary. Like I knew it was going to be a 1/2 inch. It could have been, probably up to about 7/8 without interfering with the receiver. But I wanted a little space, so I chose a 1/2 inch. So what matters now is that I get that measurement right on this end. So I'll put the spacer in, and I'll get a good measurement. I'm using an engineer's scale here, so I'm getting good measurements. So I'll get a good measurement there, and then basically I'll just subtract the difference, and that's how I'll know where to cut. I'll take a 1/2 inch minus the factory measurement, and then that's how I'll know where to cut on this surface, and then start hogging out. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, this is the Magpul, or the factory one, the Mossberg. So you can see I got lined up back here at the very front lip. We are at, I don't know if you can see it in there, but we're just over 5 3/4, and I measured it on the 30-second scale, and it was 25 30-seconds. So I'll go ahead and get that measurement on the Magpul one, and then subtract 1/2 inch and make my mark. All right, so I'm trying to hold this in place here, but I'm all lined up on my lugs back here, and I've got the spacer in, and you can see I'm right at 6 1/2. So I'm going to take, looks like I'm going to be taking 3/4 inch off to get to the 5 3/4 that I'm at on the other one, just under 3/4 inch. So because if you really care about that 1/32, which I do, so yeah, I'm going to take that off. I'm going to measure it out. I'm going to scribe the top here, and then I'll be ready to start cutting. All right, gentlemen, she is done. The Prom Queen, she ain't. All right, but let's face it, most of y'all didn't take home the Prom Queen. All right, the girl you did take home did way more stuff, trust me. So I've already test fit the anti-rotational sleeve there, and it fits good and everything, so I'm gonna go ahead and put her together and see how it works. All right, gentlemen, it would appear, as prom dates go, that I made a mistake. I forgot that this actually sits down in there. So when I went to put it all together, the threads do not stick out of here, so I need to come off about another 1/4 inch. Basically, I'm going to go the thickness of this bushing here. I need to take that much more out of there, and should work. So it looks like I think this is about 3/8. I'm going to measure it, but I think that's what else I have to take off. So if you're doing yours, you got to remember to take that into account. All right, there she is. I cut back another 3/8 from there, and you're supposed to use the A1. I guess you have better luck using the A1 spacer instead of the regular Mossberg 590. But there she is. Looks good. Let's see if I can do this one-handed here. Yeah, cycles good. I'm going to put the barrel on and see how she works. See if it cycles shells. All right, all done, fellas. She cycles shells. Looks great. I like it as far up forward as it is. Probably gained about an inch and a half by doing it the way I did it, by taking some out of the back and then some out of the front. Again, I just took a 1/2 inch out of the back and then take it out of the front until it fits. If it ships, it fits. And that sounds kind of ridiculous, but I was doing all my measurements and everything, and then by the end of it, you just do a little bit of grinding here and there and take your time, and it works great, and I like the feel of it, and I think it looks a hell of a lot better. So let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that shit. Have a good one, guys. Stay safe.